As I Lay Dying, Pyrithion, and Austrian Death Machine. Some of you have been asking me a lot of questions lately about my new band Pyrithion. In fact, rather than ask questions, a lot of you have been just making crazy assumptions about what the band is about. I'm here to clarify a few things. So I've seen a lot of comments. Some of them have been claiming that my new band Pyrithion is, anti-religious, or this is my crazy satanic side band or something like that. In reality, the lyrics are darker because they come from a different point of view. With As I Lay Dying, my lyrics are usually about my own life experiences and things that I believe. With Austrian Death Machine, is definitely on the lighthearted end of the spectrum. And then with Pyrithion, it's still kind of serious, but I wanted it to be a way to represent point of views that aren't necessarily my own, a way to get people thinking and be more philosophical. Metal as a genre has always had a lot of fantasy related lyrics, whether it's like nerdy Dungeons & Dragons stuff or Viking metal or whatever it is. And Pyrithion is a way for the inner nerd in me to come out to talk about things that aren't necessarily part of my real life, but they're more philosophical in nature. So rather than be like a dressed up in crazy costume kind of nerd, I'm the put on my glasses and read a book kind of nerd, and I think that it's good to have that outlet. It's good to challenge our thinking and to ask questions through lyrics that make people question what it is they believe. The Burden of Sorrow addresses a few different worldviews, philosophies, and the repercussions of those beliefs. As an example, The Burden of Sorrow, the title, addresses the fact that regardless of what our beliefs are, religious or entirely naturalistic, that we all have to, the burden of sorrow, we all have to figure out, the question of, where does this suffering come from and why does suffering exist? Why is there so much sorrow in this world, whether there is a God or whether or not the world is developed by natural causes? And it really puts us in the mindset that we're dealing with the same issues in a lot of ways. The track The Invention of Hatred is written to get people thinking. It dives into a very complicated issue and discusses what the implications are of different point of views within that issue. We live in a universe that seemingly just rolls along and doesn't have any regard for human suffering, and it talks about what things seem like sometimes as opposed to maybe what they really are. For an example, is hatred born in the hearts of human beings, or is hatred part of just the nature of the universe in general, that it just keeps steamrolling forward, trying to progress and doesn't care how many species die in order to evolve to the next level. And so regardless of a person's point of view, I feel like the song should really get people thinking. Bleed Out is written to address a lot of the stereotypes within metal in general, about all these depressed suburban kids that grow up and they feel like they've got all these deep issues to write about and that their lives are so tough and all these kind of things. And Bleed Out really kind of questions our upbringing, or at least most of the people that listen to this genre of music, and addresses what I believe are the true horrors of the world that are happening in places that have been forgotten about, places where kids are struggling just to survive. And it's the perspective of me witnessing some of these traumatic events and how that's kind of stuck with me for life. The last track, Rest in the Arms of a Paralyzed Beast, addresses the different social climates we all grow up in and how they naturally influence what we believe. It's almost like we're carried through life on this system that outlines for us, what it is that we're going to view later in life, and sort of says, well, what if it's not this black and white issue of us versus them? What if I need to think for myself and start asking questions to find my own path? And Rest in the Arms of a Paralyzed Beast really addresses how most of us are just kind of carried through life, and it's important to stand up and start thinking for ourselves. In closing, these songs have been a good way for me to address some point of views that I don't necessarily believe myself, but I just want that challenge in my thinking. And if we're all done talking here, I'd like to get back to reading a little